Welcome to my channel. In this video, we will be discussing some of the driving factors and mechanisms which cause psychiatrists to become little more than drug pushers for Big Pharma. More and more people now are starting to become aware that psychiatrists are little more than drug pushers for Big Pharma. This is because many education system programs that create psychiatrists have been heavily funded and influenced by those companies and people pouring millions of dollars into them. One simply needs to understand that they are seeking a return on their investment. The return on that investment is found on the other side of the psychiatrist certificate in the form of diagnosis and thus medications, whereby the psych is taught during their education to push diagnosis labels and medications onto just about anyone and anything that doesn't fit the status quo of limitation, or labeling people as ill for anything and everything that they simply don't understand. These education systems that produce psychiatrists are compromised, as they are tailored to fit the interests and agendas of those big pharmaceutical companies that invest their money and influence into them. This means that psychiatrists themselves have become like a product of Big Pharma, always working towards their interests and agendas, often at the expense of human rights and well-being, which ultimately ripples out and affects all of humanity. Many mental health professionals have been groomed and trained by these compromised education systems, whereby psychiatrists are only taught what those investors want them to know in order to further their business. This severely limits what is within their scope of practice and knowledge, which in turn also severely limits the degree to which they are capable of truly helping people. Their education has trained and conditioned them to operate a certain way, whereby the prime directive of therapy and treatment has often resulted in labeling people with made-up diagnosis and putting them on medications that they most often don't even need. These medications are not designed to be solutions. In many cases, they come with side effects and symptoms, which result in more health problems and conditions. And just like a salesman, the psychiatrist is trained to go for the upsell. For example, someone who takes one medication might experience having more depression and anxiety as a result. Thus then, the psychiatrist uses that opportunity to try and push more drugs onto the person for those new side effects and symptoms. As you can imagine, this leads to a growing list of detrimental medications, whereby the person becomes numb and docile and damaged due to these toxic medications. It is by design that this approach leads to a growing list of detrimental medications for the person, to become a dependent and lifelong customer of Big Pharma. It is in their vested interest to keep people unwell, because keeping people unwell maintains their business. It is up to us to choose to take back our power, to choose to get back into the driver's seat of our life and say, no, I'm not going to take your poison, to make our own decisions and get out of the detrimental system, free from the detrimental medications, and onto a path of true healing towards our highest potential. I will be discussing some of the processes and ways of how to do this on this channel, and we will work towards a path of healing and transformation, so feel free to follow along, and I'll see you in the next video.